talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
G5 Jeff TV, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Please share this video. Support your boy. Support good content at all times. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at BoxWithG5 Jeff TV. That's BOXWIT G5 Jeff TV. And if you guys don't mind, hit that bell icon so you can be notified when I drop that heat. Keith one-time Thurman has vacated the WBC title. This is according to the boxing scene. I'll definitely put the link in the description. Big shout out to boxing scene. Now, Keith Thurman says that because of rehabilitation from his injuries, that he was going to drop the WBC title, but he was going to keep the WBA title. So that means Danny Garcia versus Shawn Porter is going to be for the full 147-pound welterweight championship of the world. Now, going back as far as Shawn Porter, I've made several videos about Shawn Porter, and he stayed the course. He stayed the course, and he didn't waste that $200,000 that they done paid to the WBC, and it looks like he's going to get his title shot with the WBC. So that's good to see, because if I would have paid out $200,000 and I didn't get what I wanted from that $200,000, I'd have been pissed off. So congratulations to Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia for basically getting the opportunity to win the WBC championship of the world. Now, back to Keith Thurman. There's a lot of people on YouTube, other boxing channels, their job is to get the news and post it first. High level of respect for that. You know, boxing scene does it, a bunch of other YouTube channels do it, and that's really a part of being media. That's a part of being a channel. But what I do over here on G5 Jeff TV, because of my schedule outside of this channel, I just really don't have the time to be jumping on breaking news when it breaks. What I like to do is actually take the breaking news, actually listen to what other people have to say, and come up with my own questions and my own theories and my own issues with the particular news. And then I drop my videos. So I think that's a part of the reason why my content is a little different than everybody else's. When I drop my videos, it's a little different than everybody else's. And that's why G5 Jeff TV is unique. And I'm about to show you why with this particular topic. Now, Keith Thurman, he vacated the WBC title, but he kept the WBA title. Now, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist here, just in general, but I'm going to put a couple facts out there for y'all, and I want y'all to listen to me real good and take what I'm saying in, let it marinate, and then y'all let me know if I have a point or not, because I think I do. Now, Keith Thurman was supposed to have a comeback fight May 19th. He was in negotiations to fight Jesse Vargas. Keith Thurman and his team decided that Jesse Vargas was basically too tough of a fight coming back off of an injury, and they weren't going to take that fight. Also, within that time frame, due to the injuries, the WBC announced that Keith Thurman had 2 mandatories. 2. Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter. Now, Shawn Porter had to fight 2 final eliminators to get his mandatory spot. He fought Andre Berto and Adrian Granados. He was supposed to be the mandatory #1 guy for Keith Thurman. Shawn Porter, Kenny Porter, they paid about $200,000 in sanctioning fees, this, that, and the third. And they fought 2 final eliminators. Now they have their shot. Now, Danny Garcia comes in, fights Brandon Rios. That is a final eliminator for the WBC mandatory. So, in an overall view, how Brandon Rios, Andre Berto, and Adrian Granados are a part of title eliminators or final eliminators, I do not know. But that was the situation. Danny Garcia stops Brandon Rios. And then the WBC comes out with their rankings and they say Danny Garcia is #1. And Shawn Porter is #2. Whole lot of bullshit, whole lot of fuckery going on with that. So now Keith Thurman has 2 mandatories. So on his plate at that time, he had a possible comeback fight on May 19th. And then his schedule would have been Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, then probably another mandatory with the WBA, and then everybody would have been looking at an Earl Spence unification fight. That is what the schedule would have been for Keith Thurman. Now, even though Keith Thurman has beat Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter back to back, essentially what the WBC wanted was for him to do that again, beat them back to back. And Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia. Would it have been good paydays for everybody? Absolutely. Good ratings for everybody? Absolutely. But you're asking somebody to beat the caliber of Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia twice, back to back. Like, that's asking a lot. And Keith Thurman made it perfectly clear on May 19th. He was looking to fight somebody not in the top 10, not even in the top 15. He just wanted a tune-up fight. He wanted a tune-up fight. He probably was looking for a bum, couldn't find one, and basically just got the card canceled because nobody was going to buy tickets to see Keith Thurman anyway, coming off of all of the BS that was going on with Earl Spence and the way he's been talking, and him sounding like he's marketing himself like Floyd Mayweather Jr. Now, here's my theory here, but I had to give you guys the backdrop for the people that don't know. This is why I'm asking, did he drop the WBC title because of injuries and rehabilitation or strategy? He drops the WBC title, right? Knowing the WBC, they probably told him that he would get first crack at the WBC championship once he's fully recovered and back in the thick of things. If Keith Thurman is a contender for the WBC title, then that means he's not obligated to fight 2 mandatories. Keith Thurman is not the WBC champion anymore. So the WBC cannot tell him to fight Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia. The WBC made it perfectly clear that they were not intentionally going to make Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter fight. They wasn't going to do that. They wanted Keith Thurman to fight each of them separately because that was going to be 2 sets of sanctioning fees. So for Keith Thurman's end, he's like, I got one hell of a road to even get to a Earl Spence if I wanted to. And a lot of people debate whether he even wants that fight with Earl Spence. So for Keith Thurman, what's the best way to get around this situation and still end up on top at the end of the day? actually dropping the WBC title was the smartest move if you're Keith Thurman. Number one, the WBC is basically going to give him a mandatory shot. Now, let's just say Danny Garcia, Shawn Porter wins, right? Danny Garcia, Shawn Porter fights. The winner of that fight is the WBC champion. The WBC will probably say, okay, the winner of that fight has to fight Keith Thurman. So instead of Keith Thurman being the champion, he's the challenger, or he's another champion, and it's a unification fight. So now Keith Thurman gets his tune-up, whenever that may be. Might be sometime later in 2018. He gets his tune-up fight. Danny Garcia, Shawn Porter fight happens. The winner of that fight, WBC champ. So now Keith Thurman is going to fight the winner of that fight essentially as a challenger, as a number one contender, basically. So let's just say Keith Thurman beats the winner of Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter. So now he has his WBC belt back if he wins that fight. At that point, the WBC cannot tell him that he has to fight two mandatories because he would have just newly re-won that same belt. So now the WBC can't give him two mandatories. And now the WBC pretty much has to start from scratch in terms of Keith Thurman and him being their belt holder. So now Keith Thurman can go out and now he can ask for a voluntary because he's the quote-unquote new WBC champion in that scenario. You follow where I'm going? This was a smart, damn strategic move by Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman's been acting real strategic. So basically everything that I'm saying, I'm not saying that it's far-fetched or this wasn't a part of his thinking and his team's thinking. Like, they're basically avoiding fighting an extra guy and still they think they're going to get the belt. Like, this is a great strategy move for Keith Thurman, if that's what they're thinking. If it's not what they're thinking and like the injury situation is really a problem, then I think Keith Thurman just needs to evaluate his future period just at welterweight and just as a fighter if the injuries are really bothering him that bad. Because even though he gave up the WBC title, he still has the WBA title. And like I said before, Keith Thurman can do what he wants. I just don't want for him to hold the belts and do what he wants. So if this is going to be a continuous thing where he's looking at another 6 month layoff, 7-8 month layoff, I'd rather him drop the WBA belt as well and just move on with his career. And when he comes back, if he comes back to 147, the WBA and the WBC will probably give him an automatic title shot. And if he wants to kind of just start fresh, he could just move up to 154. It's a lot of action at 154. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section about this whole Keith Thurman situation and him dropping the WBC title. G5 Jeff TV, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Please share this video. Support your boy. Support good content at all times. I appreciate y'all. Peace.